So, hello. We previously just started recording, and then I had to stop because setting up audio for this has been a nightmare, and I don't want it to be like last time where I have to go through and and manually cut through each part. And if you're wondering why the last episode sounds weird in some places and like Steve is in a cave far away, that's because I didn't. By like the 11th hour, I'm like one of us would say one word while the other was in a long spiel, and I'm not fucking fading that in and out.
I live here. I live in this cave.
But do you want to introduce the show this time?
Yeah,
you
sure.
Just did, and then we had to start recording again.
Yeah, we were at this setting up for like an entire hour, and by we I mean Andy. But yeah, so today's episode of Pitchmas, episode 2, Electric Boogaloo, is
episode 6 of Pitch Shift, episode 2 of Pitchmas.
Technically episode 7 because we have episode 0.
Yeah, but that's just us being that's like the worst parts of each of these podcasts, and then that's just the whole episode.
And ironically, it's the best one yet.
Yeah, when we have structure, we're awful. When we just go off on tangents, we're kings.
Yeah, that's the lesson to take away from it, kids. Just don't try, and everything will be okay. Today's episode is about Creep 3, the Creepmas.
Yes. So, in order to talk about Creep 3, for those of you who aren't familiar with Creep, go watch them, because if you have a Netflix subscription, I don't know if they were made for well, the second one was. Definitely.
Was it really?
Well, because it had that, like, Netflix presents at the beginning. Yeah. I don't know if the first one was, but basically, they are movies made by Mark Duplass and Patrick Bryce, and as far as I know, they don't even really have scripts, at least the first one didn't. And it's basically just... the first one is the story of a man who, it's all found footage, and he gets called out through a Craigslist ad to go record some guy's life, and that's really all he knows about the scenario. And he gets there, and the guy is Mark Duplass, who seems insufferable in certain interviews and then perfectly wonderful in others, but he was one of those people, I think, who did the Imagine thing, so fuck him. But no, he's gonna find us and creep us.
And then he's gonna fuck us.
Yeah, in a wolf mask. But basically, so the night keeps getting weirder and weirder. I think the first one's only about like 70 minutes or something. It's not very long. But it just keeps getting weirder and weirder as this guy keeps getting stranger and stranger. And I don't want to spoil anything, but the man is what we call a creep. And then that movie ends. And then the second movie, which Steve actually had not seen until just recently, maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. I know we talked about it after we watched it, but the second movie is a bit more interesting because it's basically just this whole weird meta commentary on making a movie in general. And like the creep from the first movie is back, and he's just kind of depressed and he feels out of his element. So he tries to do something special for like his 40th kill or whatever, his 40th film, because he sort of makes these films from like the people that he targets. And it just ends that he gets this woman who's doing this YouTube series, and she kind of gives
down on her luck. She's looking for like the next big scoop and the next big thing to like really make it all. Because like considering the production value of her YouTube videos, you'd think it'd be like made by goddamn Vice or something.
Well, yeah, just like a wonderful camera. Like I feel, a woman has like 6 views or something like that. I feel like moderately attractive woman with decent audio and sound quality would be getting way more attention than that.
Yeah.
Like she had purple hair, so there'd probably be at least a few weirdos on the internet who's like, I will die for her.
Oh yeah, no, there'd be those simps, there'd be those fucking e-boys and shit, like going after those, fucking simping after her. Yeah, all she had to do was open up a weird-ass OnlyFans where all she did was film, not even sex stuff, just put all the... Really, what she should have done was put all that raw shit up on fucking some kind of shit, like, I don't know, Live Leak or OnlyFans, where, like, it's not even her doing sex stuff, it's her just, like half those guys were just doing, like, wanting to be babied.
Yeah, like one man just wants to be a baby, the other guy just wants to sit awkwardly apart from her in a hot tub.
Yeah. And get weird neck massage.
Yeah. I think Creep benefits a lot from having, like, 2 people who are both kind of crazy. Like, she's clearly, like, she's mostly sane, but she's clearly, like, a little nuts to be just even going through with all this.
I think she's just more desperate.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It's like, that's why she hasn't walked away from this, even though the man's point blank, like, I'm a serial killer, I kill people.
Yeah,
she's like, I don't know if he's a serial killer.
but just in case.
It's like, it is that funny. It's like funny to us because it's like, if that's your first creep movie, you're like, oh, I wonder if he really did kill all those people. We're like, no, he did. We found him kill that guy. He took his name. He's called himself that guy's name in this one.
Didn't she make that like realization? Like, that he's like, I'm pretty sure this guy's even a serial killer after he showed her a snuff film.
Well, it's like, that's the thing. I'm like, I guess you could be like, oh, this guy might be insane. It's like, who, like, and that would require somebody else to have, like, cooperated in this with him. Do you think that guy has friends? He's missing patches of his facial hair and being like, yeah, I pick at my facial hair and I'm a serial killer. Do you want a smoothie? No, here's one anyway.
Yeah, I did like how they brought up, like, he may, like, try to make a change in himself with, like, this whole, like, midlife crisis thing where he's trying to be, like, a weird kombucha fucking chugging, yoga doing.
Trying to be Mark Duplass, probably.
Yeah. He just becomes this fucking hippy-dippy ass.
He becomes the hypocrite, like a hypocrite. I'm having a stroke.
You're having a hippostroke.
But yeah, so...
You're getting drilled into your hippocampus.
So Creep 2 is about, like, an hour 20, I think.
It feels like it's so fast and yet it's so tense that it feels like it's twice as long at the same time.
Well, because I heard somebody I think it's Ryan Hollinger, and he makes, like, horror videos. He's pretty good. I recommend him. And I think he did a video on them. And I believe something he pointed out that I haven't really quite thought of is the Duplass brothers stuff is typically described as mumblecore. And he said that Creep and Creep 2 are basically mumblecore horror movies.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually insanely accurate. Because it's that almost Office-like style awkward situations. But, like, some of the things are awkward because, like, this is a weird situation. And then some of the things are awkward, like, get out of this house right fucking now. That man's wearing a wolf mask and rubbing his ass on the door. Even if he's not gonna kill you, something's going down. And I do like that in Creep 2 they kind of like use that meta stuff to sort of, like, I think the first movie's more subtly meta.
Yeah.
But I do like the whole, like, oh, it's a serial killer making films. But the whole thing that he brings up where he's like, yeah, you know, I just stuck an axe in a stump and the guy saw it and he still came up. And I'm like, that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
But just that sort of awkward tension that it's like, you're never quite sure if a moment is, I think towards the end of the first Creep, like, it really kicks into gear when he's just, like, sort of staring off into space and the dude will be like, are you okay? And then he just, like, starts running around and shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrifying. But, like, some of the situations, like, when he's playing pool, and it's like, oh, no, I said I wouldn't kill you, and I'm keeping to my word. And it's like, you said
and she catches him, yeah.
It's like, you wouldn't kill me after 24 hours. And he just, like, puts the pool, he's like,
why would you
say that? That just gets you in trouble. And I'm like, that's
horrifying.
You are a creep.
Well, with shit like that, it has you have to wonder if this guy's, like, childhood made him like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his parents were, like, extremely strict or something like that, or when it comes to, like,
well, because that's in the first movie, and they never bring this up in the second one. In the first movie, they establish he has a sister.
Yeah.
Who, like, at least
calls him.
Yeah, like, at least knows some of this because she's the one who warns him. Like, you gotta get out of there.
Unless she was fake too.
that's him on the voice change. He wants to give him a heads up. Well, maybe that's the sequel. You find out his sister's also a creep, and they creep up. The creeper.
Everybody creep up tonight.
Everybody creep up tonight. You get a song every episode. It's the worst podcast.
And I'm pretty sure we also did a Wang Chung a few episodes ago.
You get a Wang Chung reference every podcast. Where else could you get this other than, like, a VFW old lady? You know how they blasted Wang Chung launched into Vietnam?
Just a helicopter.
Just a helicopter flying through Vietnam. Just everybody Wang Chung. I'd probably find that offensive. Because I don't know if is Wang Chung it sounds like it might be offensive or it just might be gibberish.
Yeah, what was it, Monster Hunter that had that, like, Chinese racial slur in it?
What type of knees are these? Chinese.
No, I think one of the characters was named, like, Chink or some shit.
Well, it's like I didn't look too hard at the article because I was just like, that's just fitting that, like, it's like, getting a new movie in theaters held back for being racist.
Oh, yes, noted race relations profiler Paul W.S. Anderson.
I love I was watching What Happened recently. It's like, Paul, I married my own O.C. Anderson.
Yeah, basically, man. He's just projecting all his weird fantasies onto her.
I love the practice of giving someone a facetious middle name that's way too long. Because I recently was talking about Ike Perlmutter, and I said, Ike, no one will notice if we switch out Don Cheadle for Terrence Howard Perlmutter. He really said that. That man used to run Marvel.
Probably still does from the shadows.
I think he still runs the comic end of it. Which is weird, because that's where
the least profitable aspect.
Well, no, that makes sense why they stuck him on that. I think they're trying to, like, sort of
distance
ghost him out of the company. Yeah. But, because he used to, like, he ran, like, a portion of Disney, I believe, and then when the home... I don't know if he was with Disney originally or if he was with Marvel originally, but, like, when Disney acquired Marvel, he kind of oversaw all that, and, basically that's why, like, a lot of the Phase 2 movies are so bleh.
Yeah.
Like, he was even fighting back on, like, no one wants to see a Black Panther movie, no one wants to see a Black Widow movie. He probably didn't even know who Black Widow was.
He
probably
just saw black.
He was like, no. Because for those of you who don't know, I talked about this in one of my videos. Actually, I don't even know if I talked about this specifically, but we might have talked about it on this very podcast. There's, like, 3 photographs of this guy. One is when he was young, one is when he's much older, and one is him in a dark room with Donald Trump and he's wearing sunglasses, and whoever took it is in, like, the bushes inside. Like, it's like they're hiding in a ficus. But this guy sucks. And Kevin Feige basically now there's somebody I hope is dead. I know he's not, but
Kevin Feige?
Yes. No, Shoji Tabuchi. I promoted it. But yeah, so he, like, ran everything at one point, and then Kevin Feige had to basically go around him and go to, like, Bob Iger directly and be like, yeah, can you, like, make him stop or I will leave? And he was like, well, shit, no, you need to stay. I get the fuck out of here. No one cares who you are. There's 3 photos of you. But,
that's exactly why I only had 3 photos of me, because no one. I wanted to work from the shadows. Yeah, well, it worked against it. Get the fuck out of here.
I wanted to be the next Rupert Murdoch.
So, now you're the next Rupert Wainwright.
But why was I talking about, like, Perlmutter? I can never remember how I get onto the topics.
Because you hate people?
I do. Yes, pretty much. Welcome to the Ike Perlmutter podcast, where you can listen to us talk about Ike Perlmutter. I'm even pointing to your camera, which can't see me. But yeah, so Creep.
Those movies are pretty good.
Yes, and I know I'm going to be editing this later, much like last episode, where I was like, I never explained why I started talking about Grace Randolph.
It doesn't matter.
If you just listen to the audio of that, you will never know why.
Our actual topics are just padding for all the other bullshit we want to talk about.
Yeah, pretty much. If we stayed on topic, the show would be 15 minutes.
It would. And then people would actually watch it because it's digestible.
But, well, that's our goal. We need to be as inaccessible as possible. We're going to get INXS on the podcast. We're going to go dig up the lead singer. But you were slowly dabbing for some reason. But, yes, so basically, I know I'll be editing this later and be like, I started talking about that tangent for a reason and whatever. But, yeah, so Creep 3, Creepmas, we're gonna hit you with a little double whammy. We're gonna do one of those things where we talk about a terrible idea and then we talk about something that would actually be kind of cool to see. So, Steve, do you want to start talking about Creep 3, Creepmas?
Oh boy, do I. So, the time of the holidays is almost near, and to everyone we are holding dear, we invite you to have this creep come onto your steep. I tried to make a rhyme. I don't think it's
I don't think the steep is a word, but I don't think it's a thing.
I was gonna like have an ellipses and say steep and then like a steeple creep. Is that what you should call it? Steeple creep? Like
here in the church, here are the creeple.
So, spoilers abound for the first 2 Creep movies if you haven't already guessed. But
yeah, I probably should have specified when I started talking about Creep 2. People
fine.
die.
so many people, by which I mean like 39 prior, but then like 40.
39 people, 38 of which we do not see, one who we do see, and then we think one's dead, and then she hits him in the head with a shovel.
Yeah, a little bonk sound effect.
That's a great moment, isn't it? When he just keeps monologuing, and you just see her crawl out, and it's just, I think that's the thing, is a lot of it is funny.
Yeah.
But, like, I think it's a very good example of dark humor.
Yeah, it's perfectly intertwined, like the humor and the horror, because they're both very hard to do. So, what I like...
Midsummer.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you managed to actually be funny and terrifying in the same movie. Good job, Ari Aster.
Hey, cheers to that, bro. Nut to that.
And please just never make a feature-length remake of Strange Thing About the Johnsons.
Yeah, and by which we mean please do. It'll just be a documentary
No,
at that
because
point.
we're going to do that.
Yeah, so, again, it'll be a biopic.
Starring Michael B. Jordan and Eddie Murphy. Oh, I don't want to imagine that. I don't want to imagine that movie, period. That's here's our recommendation for the week. Go watch
Strange Thing About the Johnsons in its entirety for free on YouTube.
Or Pornhub, probably.
Oh, that's where it should be.
But did you see that Pornhub recently, they purged all unverified content?
Yeah.
Now people can't upload, like, entire movies to Pornhub just to be dicks. And then I thought, but then I, like when those words were escaping my mouth, I'm like, all right, they did that because it's very easy to just put anything up on there, and maybe that's a porn website. You might want to have a little bit more oversight than, say, YouTube.
Maybe just a little bit.
Because YouTube fucking, like, there was that whole thing with, like, those videos of just kids doing, like, gymnastics and stuff like that, like, and it was, like, innocent. Like, people just uploaded videos of their kids, but, like, pedophiles were getting off to it. And that's actually the one thing I think about when people talk about cuties. The one thing I hear people say that I really don't agree with is, this is just giving pedophiles bait and stuff like that. It's like, I don't think anybody making something should, like, in their head be like, let me think about the worst fucking people in the world and then
cater to them.
But, like, it's not even that. I don't think anybody's thinking that, and I don't think anybody, when they're writing something, should be like, it's like when someone writes a movie about murder. Yeah. It's like, they're not thinking, like, somebody might see this and go out and commit that murder. And if somebody does do that, I don't really think that's on them. Yeah. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, you should be able to... I have not watched Cuties, and I don't want to, just because of the things I've heard it's in there. So I'm not defending that movie, but I do find the criticism of, like, you shouldn't put something in your art because the worst people in the world are going to interpret it in their own way. It's like, that's always going to happen. Yeah. Like, the guy who wrote Catcher in the Rye didn't say, like, go shoot John Lennon. That guy who I don't know.
Oh, didn't he? Did he not write it in the bylines, shoot John Lennon, please?
The book ends, and then the next chapter is just, by the way, go shoot John Lennon, and they'll make a movie about it, and a man will get gout to play you, and then no one will see it.
Yeah, it's just like a shittily drawn over portrait of John Lennon with a bullet hole in his head and, like, X's over his eyes.
You gotta feel bad for anybody who's, like, at least J.D. Salinger was dead when that guy, like, shot. No, wait, was he? I think he was...
Let's find out.
He might have died semi-recently, actually. I know it was before the BoJack Horseman thing.
Right.
Because that was the whole joke. But I do know that he lived, like, reclusively.
He died in 2010.
Yeah, that's right. That was semi-recent. So, no, he did have to... He's just like, well, shit.
All of his books were written seemingly prior to, like, 1960.
Yeah, I think he, like, went super recluse mode in his later life. And then his son played Captain America in that Captain America movie where he has ears on his costume. Just rubber ears.
And then he just keeps stealing people's cars by saying, hey, look over there. And he's like, what? And he just steals their cars.
No, he's always in the car with them, and then he says, oh, can you pull over? I think I'm going to be sick. And then he goes over to vomit, knowing for sure that every single time someone's going to run up to him and be like, hey, are you okay? And then he just runs past them and takes their car. He does this twice, and then the second time he does this, he strands a woman in a foreign country.
America's hero.
The movie ends with him throwing his shield at Red Skull, who only wears the Red Skull makeup in the opening scene. The rest of the time just looks like an average Italian man. He looks like a monster, but he looks like an average Italian man.
So an average Italian man.
Yes, but
It was a skeleton.
he's made of spaghetti. But like, so he's wearing, like, I don't imagine this. You know who he looks like? He looks like that guy from the Spider-Man pilot. Who, like, is that the Green Goblin? He looks exactly like him.
The guy in the fedora is probably him.
It probably is. Oh, the original MCU. That was probably in the 70s. No, wait, that was in the 90s. God, that
Was
movie
it
looks
really?
awful.
Oh my
That was
god.
like 1992. That movie looks horrendous.
Wait, Captain America was?
Yeah.
I thought just the Fantastic Four shitty TV movie was.
No, well, the Captain America one did get released, I believe. I believe it was straight to VHS. But yeah, no, that was like in the 90s. There was one in the 70s. That's the one where he drove around on a motorcycle and like the shield was the
visor, yeah.
Motorcycle.
Oh my god. Okay, so when did The Punisher come out with Dolph Lundgren?
That was in the 80s, I think.
Oh man. Per each decade, you have a shitty fucking Marvel franchise.
That might have been later 80s. That maybe he's the like Iron Man of that unit, like he started it all.
Well, no, because Spider-Man TV Pal was in the 70s. If that even counts. Like, wasn't there the Hulk one with Lou Ferrigno?
Yeah. I think that was also the 70s, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Was that a response to, or like just in spite of, like Wonder Woman?
Probably a response to. I feel like those things always come in waves.
Yeah.
Like, especially now, it's like, I got an ad the other day for I don't know, it might have been for HBO Max, it had to have been. And it was like, you could watch Titans or Stargirl or Legends of Tomorrow. I'm like, thanks,
why?
I want to do any of that. It's like, I don't know what Stargirl is, and I only see, like, I'm aware that's a character. I don't know what she does. I'm sorry if you're a fan of Star, I don't know who she is. But she's wearing a mask, and every time I see her, I'm like, is that Emily Moriarty? Is that who plays Starlight? Did they just cast her as another, like, blonde woman with star powers?
Yeah, really stretching her creative flexibility.
It just occurred to me that I only looked up Punisher. I was just scrolling the Wikipedia for Punisher.
I saw that you looked up, like, Punisher, the character, and I didn't say anything because I was waiting for you to realize it.
I'm just gonna type in 198 because autocomplete's being real slow.
It's fine.
We're gonna see. Maybe there was one made in the year 198.
Oh, that'd be great.
The original Punisher.
Yeah, like fucking Stone Age Punisher.
1989.
Hey, there it is.
So, and I believe that Captain America one might have been 90.
Yeah. It's
Captain America. Bad movie. The other ones are TV movies, so I hope the 70s ones were TV movies. Captain America's
worst movie just became Marvel canon.
I really thought it said just become Marvel canon. So yeah, it's 1990.
Rating 3.3 out of 10?
Captain America is a 1990 American Yugoslavian superhero film directed by Albert Pun and Ellipses, changing the appearance of the character of the Red Skull. Quote, I don't think people wanted to keep looking at his horrible skull face forever. Who said that?
We must know.
Welcome to the Captain America podcast. We were just talking about how tangents get us derailed, and now we're just on the Wikipedia page for the 1990 Captain America movie.
Welcome to our live stream of going down a deep Wikipedia rabbit hole.
On a computer that's like 10 years old, so it's... it looks so bad.
It looks great. What are you talking about? What's his name? Directed by Albert Pune.
We're probably end up making this a video at some point just so I could show people how bad this fucking poster is. It was released December 14th, 1990 in the United Kingdom. And then July 22nd, 1992, United States. It took 2 years to come out here.
Well, nobody wanted it over here. It's a whopping 97 minutes and a budget of $3 million, which in the 90s, even then, was like, holy fuck, dude.
The film opens in Porto-Venere, fascist Italy in 1936. The government kidnaps a child prodigy. Tadizio DeSantis.
And kills his family.
The child is needed for an experimental project to create a fascist super soldier. Isn't the Red Skull's name Johann Schmidt? Not Tadzio DeSantis. The procedures of Dr. Mario Pacelli objects to the cruelty of using the boy and, under the cover of gunfire, flees the United States to offer her services to the Americans. Yeah, you know how the Nazis had issues with, like, morals and stuff.
Never question why a boy cries, why a girl doesn't wear makeup, why my Argentinian grandfather has German last name. We need to find out. I already this is just a gold mine. I already forgot about who wants to see his horrible skull face. Can we look at the critiques? I want to see the reception tab.
Well, we'll do that. So, right, I think this was a Canon movie.
Nice.
Golan left Canon in 1989 as a part of a severance package. He was given control of 21st Century Film Corporation.
Oh.
Corporation. I just...
Yeah,
whatever.
they live in a commune.
Yeah. And allowed to carry over the film rights to the Captain America character. Oh, so maybe it wasn't a Canon movie. Director Albert Pyun, who had previously worked at Canon, was brought on board to work with the Tolkien script.
J.R.R. Tolkien wrote this movie.
Yeah, he came back from the grave just to do this. He might have not been. I don't fucking know.
Who knows?
He was old.
He died the same year as J.D. Salinger, probably.
Probably. Everybody died the same year. It was J.D. Salinger's world, and now that's why nothing makes sense anymore. He was the creator of reality. That's why he had to go into recluse mode. He was writing the reality.
He was using a loom.
Using the loom from Wanted. Literally the other day, I just picked up my copy of Wanted over there, and I'm like
fuck the code.
I'm like, this was like $50 when it came out. It was like, not like maybe 10 when I bought it, and I'm like, this is a guilty pleasure, if anything. Yeah. I might be one of the few people who own this really nice edition. Who the fuck would pay $50 for this? I'm one of the few people that will watch this movie, and I'm like, I'm paying $50 for that.
Who'd pay $50 for the shitty video game adaptation?
Where at least he actually wore his costume from the comic. But then again, I don't care if people stay faithful to Mark Millar adaptations, because he fucking sucks.
Yeah, every Millar.
That's like I watched like a while back, I think, whenever I think it was like the first movie or first video where Cosmonaut Variety Hour actually said his thoughts on Civil War, because he had always had a running joke that he didn't like it, and his whole thing was like, I don't want to say his whole thing, and I'm remembering something I saw however long ago, but one of his big points is like, oh, all these things are so much bigger in the comic, and like, that dude gets way too much shit from random people, like just random weirdos on the internet. And I wonder why he gets shit that other people who maybe look more like me don't get on the internet for saying about the same quality of stuff. I wonder why.
Welcome to the Cosmonaut Variety Hour Defense Squad.
It's just like sometimes I see people just say shit and I'm like, what? I'm like I just want to respond to some of these things and be like, I'm so sorry. Like, he seems to take it all in stride, but I'm like, I'm so sorry that people think these are just okay things to say to you. But like, one of the things I didn't agree is like, he's like, oh, it's so much like bigger and better in the comics, and I just kind of wanted to comment and be like, that comic sucks. Civil War's bad.
Every comic after that was like basically just shitting on how shitty it was.
All the tie-in comics to Civil War are great. Because like all this solo series are basically everyone going like, listen, we'd really rather be doing something good right now, but now we have to talk about this shit.
Yeah, Civil War really ruined the entire continuity of like comics in general, and like how every time you have to make a fucking book, you have to interconnect it with some other fucking thing.
Mm-hmm, yeah. It's what, like,
you're always constantly rebooting fucking universes and shit.
Well, they've always, like, comics have always done this sort of like they lead up to these big events. But the thing is, it's like these are all series being worked on by different people, and then it's like, it's kind of like, it's it's the same, like, I think when I believe Infinity War came out, Lindsay Ellis, like, I saw her tweet about it, and I think that's all I ever saw her say about it, but she really didn't like it. And one of the things she really didn't like about it is she really likes the Guardians, and she thought, like, when James Gunn wasn't writing the Guardians...
It sucks.
Well, it's like they're written, like, Peter Quill is, like, in Infinity War, just like...
A selfish piece of shit that fucks everything up.
He's an idiot who hasn't learned anything. It's like, I get he's like, you heard, like, oh, you just killed Gamora. Like, I'd be upset too, but I might wait until we get the powerful thing away from the purple idiot.
Yeah.
So I can punch him. But, why didn't Doctor Strange just open a portal and cut off his arm? This isn't gonna be the Nerd Nitpick podcast, so I'm gonna stop talking right now. But don't leave your fan theories in the comments. We do not care. Unless it involves Thanos being so drunk that he just had the power to be omniscient because all the sodium in the chicken balanced out with the alcohol and he became like hypercognizant.
And he constantly has Paul Rudd on the end of his fucking fist and glove.
As a disco ball. But yeah, that's her, like, and I do believe he actually did. I think I heard he did write some of their stuff for that movie.
Thanos?
Yes, but James Gunn, and I do love the line there. I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora? But I think that was improv. But basically, I saw her point. I'm like, that must be like, if you're really like, say you're not into comics as a whole, but you're into certain arcs and stuff like that. That must really suck to just like, well, I know you'd rather be seeing something else, but we're gonna put that on hold so I can go fight a purple man. But back to this is at least all in the Marvel wheelhouse. But back to what we were saying. In an interview with Cinefantastique, Token explained some of the changes that he made from the original comic, including changing the appearance of the character of Red Skull. I don't think people want to keep looking at his horrible skull face forever. Oh, perfect.
Hell yeah.
Let's look at the reception.
Review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes gave the studio cut of the film an approval rating of 7% based on 15 reviews, with an average rating of 3.56 out of 10. Consensus states, lacking a script, budget, direction, or star capable of doing justice to its source material, this Captain America should have been left under the ice. Oh, got him.
Take that, J.D. Salinger's son. To be fair, he's horrible in that movie. I don't think he ever acted again after that.
I don't think he acted during the movie.
They should have just got the guy who played Rocky in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, they're going to say in Ricky 2.
Yes.
Or Ricky 1, whatever the fuck that shitty parody movie was.
Ricky Balboa. In one of the few contemporaneous reviews, Entertainment Weekly... Also, I didn't read this earlier, but they say that Entertainment Weekly, visited... Oh, no, Entertainment Tonight visited the set during the making of the film. Why the fuck were they in Yugoslavia?
It was the cheapest thing they could afford.
In one of the few contemporaneous reviews, Entertainment Weekly critic Frank...
Loveless?
Lovely? I don't know.
Loveless?
That's...
Oh, it looks like boneless Stephen King.
Critic Frank Lovelace wrote, "The movie isn't merely wrong for kids. It opens in pre-war Italy with a sequence with Italian with subtitles
and a machine gun
slaughter. It's just all wrong and decried the shapeless blob of a plot, ingrading the film F." F's in the chat for Captain America. IGN wasn't around then. Why are they hopping in?
They're just retroactively reviewing Captain America from 1990.
IGN gave two different reviews for each different version. There's more than one.
What?
The unfavorable rating for the MGM version and the average rating for the collector's edition version.
Cinelinx Victor Medina. Shout out to Hard R Medina.
Shout out to Medina. This must be your dad or an alternate persona. Rated the film B-. What's wrong with you? Unless he was just putting the B icon because that was the only score he could give it. but rated the overall DVD grade as C-
because
because of the DVD video transfer and the lack of extras.
Oh, that was the deal breaker for you?
I can't watch the extras on this horrible Captain America movie that ends with the Red Skull falling off like a cliff and it's very clearly a dummy. Also, I don't think Captain America's shield ever comes back to him, so he just threw it into the ocean. Flickering Myths Neil Calloway said, it's not a great film, and it's really only of interest as a pre-MCU curio for hardcore Marvel fans. You realize we had good Marvel movies before the MCU too, right? You can go watch like the Raimi Spider-Man movies. Or Daredevil, the director's cut.
Daredevil!
Come on, Daredevil! I can't remember if we also reacted to that when we were reacting to Epic Rap Battles of History.
We may have.
We'll find out one day when I ever write that video. In 2017, Film Trap's Justin Decla mentioned the film as one of Albert Pune's films he has liked. And 411 Mania's Brian Chris a crab juice rated the film 10 out of 10, not even 10.0 out of 10.0 as the B Cult Films Review. Who wrote this Wikipedia article?
Brian Chrisopowitz.
It was that, yeah, it probably was that guy. Oh, you get on Laserdisc if you want. Wait, a Blu-ray disc of the film was released by Shout Factory on May 21st, 2013 as a collector's edition, which features widescreen HD presentation and brand new interviews with Pune and Star Salinger.
Who wants to talk to these guys? Hold on. What is the source for this? It just says on Blu-ray.com. Okay, what the fuck is Shout Factory?
No, they make really good shit. They're the ones who make like that From Beyond edition and the thing. They re-release them and they give them like new art, and then they always have it where you can flip over the slipcover to have like the original art. Like they're awesome. I don't like they put out like stuff like this, but I didn't think they'd stoop that low. But I also think they put out that movie like Squirm that's about worms getting electrocuted and then eating people. And there's the line where the guy who has had his face eaten by worms pushes a man into a hole and goes, now you're gonna be the worm face. And he leaves. And in the Mystery Science Theater episode that it was on, the one just goes, now you're gonna be the worm face.
Worm boy done gun him one again.
Suffering fuckattash mother is home.
Oh, that's a deep cut in the lore triad.
See also, Captain America 1944 serial, in which Captain America, I think, was like a lawyer, and he had a gun, and the filming was so strenuous that the guy who played Captain America died like of a heart attack shortly after. Captain America 1979, Captain America 2, Death Too Soon. Also in 1979, yeah, it really is too soon. Captain America the First Avenger, and then you know the other two.
They really fucked up on that. They shouldn't call it Death numeral 2 soon.
In the classic 70s film starring Reb Brown.
Yes. Reb Brown, the guy who's claimed to fame as having a Captain America t-shirt.
It looks like that might be his claim to fame. Wait, did it say he was in the Big Lebowski? Or, no. Oh no! Okay, I was scrolling fast. He was in a movie called Big Wednesday, where he played Enforcer, and then I scrolled down. And I saw Private Edward Leonski.
That's the Polish version of Leon the Professional.
Well, that was a little detour into bad Marvel shit.
So anyway, as we were saying, Creep 3.
As we were talking about a completely unrelated movie. We'll get Mark Duplass in the MCU. He could be multiple man.
He could be.
I'm just thinking of like people who look like just generic schlubs because he just looks like a normal guy, kinda.
Yeah, if they didn't get the guy returning as Dr. Octopus, we could go to okay Dr. Octopus.
I could see that. I imagine he'll well then again, I imagine he'll probably do something like that, but then there's those actors who just seem like they'll probably never do it. Like Gosling, it doesn't seem like anything beneath him, it just seems like he wouldn't do it for some reason.
I don't see that. I think that I don't know. What's he been in recently? Like that shitty movie where he was like Neil Armstrong?
Yeah, First Man. I actually didn't see that.
Yeah.
I like that's made by the guy who made Whiplash and La La Land.
Yeah.
And those are both great, but it was also just that thing of I'm tired of people just going to the moon.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, that just has never interested me. It's great that we did it.
Yeah.
But like whenever we would have to watch like Apollo 13 in class, I'm like, it's not a bad movie, but I'm just like, this is a horrific situation I wouldn't want to be in, and yet I just don't care.
Yeah, like, it's good for exactly one watch and then never again.
I think that's a lot of Ron Howard movies.
Yeah.
Especially Solo, because, I mean, you can watch it multiple times and you still won't pick up on anything new because it's so goddamn dark that you can't see anything.
Like, that one movie, what the fuck did he make with Liam Hemsworth? He was like a stock car racer or some
Rush.
shit. Yeah.
I think in the episode that we have previously talked about this in, I called it Premium Rush, which is not that. That's the movie where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's on a bike.
Yeah, no, it's literally just one for one the plot of Amadeus.
Oh yeah, Rush. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, no, that movie, it's fine, but it's just Amadeus, so who gives a shit? It's just race cars instead of fucking classical composers.
What if they were
composing while racing?
With race, or it could be like that OK Go music video where they just set up like a bunch of pianos and guitars and shit.
And on treadmills.
But yeah, they just ran on treadmills that had wheels. They actually like have a music video where they set up like a bunch of pianos and stuff, and they drove this car, and the car had a bunch of retractable arms and shit, so it would just like drive and hit the pianos and like strum the guitars. And I'm like, this must have been a fucking nightmare to figure out how all this was gonna sound. And I listened to the studio version of the song that's on the album, and I'm like, I don't give a shit about this song, but when you play it on a car, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Because it's like they actually used the recording that they did while they were doing that, and you could hear actually them shifting the gear. Like, it's neat.
Yeah.
And OK Go, I'm fairly certain, is not a band anymore, and they just make music videos, because anytime their songs come on in my Spotify, and I'm like, yep, that's a song. Like, I enjoy a lot of their music, but like some of the songs I hear them, I'm like, I've heard this somewhere, and I'm like, oh, right, it was a cool music video, but I didn't care enough about the song they were engaged with it further.
Yeah, pretty much.
But they do have some good stuff. I actually really hope it be way too on the nose, but I hope that the new Invincible movie uses their song Invincible. That'd be great. Again, too on the nose, but Christopher Nolan made a fucking movie where the protagonist goes, I am the protagonist, so... My dad fell asleep watching that the other day, and I said, what did you think of what you saw? And he said, oh, it was a good thing about Christopher Nolan movies. You can fall asleep and wake back up and be pretty sure you're in the same spot. Because I think he fell asleep, I don't think he says it till the end, but I think he said he fell asleep and he heard him say that, and then he woke back up, he's like, I'm the protagonist.
Well, I don't know if that's better or worse than my grandfather falling to the Amazon Prime title card of Cowboys vs. Aliens Unrated.
Yo, Steve, you want to watch this cowboy alien movie with us? It's got that Olivia Ferrell chick. You mean Olivia Wilde? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and then he gets pissed off that he can't find the remote that he lost after watching Cowboys vs. Aliens for the 5th time in a row.
Because he threw it at the TV because he was so excited for his Cowboys and his aliens.
Oh, fucking Cowboys!
Jon Favreau directed that movie and we just don't talk about it.
I don't think we talk a lot of things Jon Favreau directed.
I think he made that, but I don't want to look it up because it's not important and we already got caught off on a tangent looking up a 1990s Captain America movie.
You know what he didn't direct? Creep 3.
Yeah, so Creep 3, Creep for the Holidays, or Merry Creepmas, or whatever.
The Grinch Creeps Christmas.
What? Christmas?
Creepsmas.
That just reminded me of there's that Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns is just rubbing his pant leg. He's like, Smithers, I told you to iron out this crease. And Smithers is like, I did. That crease is in your leg, sir. Are you saying boo or boo earns? Boo!
I was saying boo earns.
I was actually, when I was talking to Kyle earlier, I was talking about that Star Wars guy who was in the one episode and they just kept shooting him and eventually they had to blow him up. And I'm like, that'd be great if he showed up, if he was the villain of the next trilogy, and at the end of each movie they thought they killed him. At the beginning of the next movie, he always just showed back up. And I just said to him, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Yeah, I love the Jedi.
Is he that guy wearing like the plain clothes? There's like some guy in the crew in the background.
Yes. I can't believe they already edited that out. I'm like, let us have fun, goddammit. I do like people are immediately doing costumes where they made a whole fake wall to hide behind.
Yeah, it's like the Robert Pattinson kitchen where he's just like standing in the tracksuit in the middle of a kitchen.
I think Quentin Reviews was like looking for that tracksuit. It turned out like the thing's like $700 or something ridiculous. It's probably because it was like a limited print, and now the fact that it is that.
Like a big meme.
Yeah. But
what's that even from? Like Good Time or something?
I don't know where he got it from. I know it's an Adidas hoodie.
Yeah.
But it has also got this weird like I think like fur texture almost. I just want we should remake Uncut Gems, except it's with Robert Pattinson. He's just dressed like Adam Sandler. I'm Pickle Howie. But we should remake The Ridiculous Six, but instead of Adam Sandler playing his bored character from there, Adam Sandler, he plays Howie.
Oh my fucking god, I'm gonna fucking come in the desert, Morty.
I remember we watched that movie once, I think like when it first came out, and we're like, oh, this is terrible, but, at least it's brief. And then we saw
Full disclosure, I did not watch this movie.
You don't want the Netflix police finding you. One day they're gonna round up everybody who watched The Ridiculous Six and shoot us.
But you guys did this.
You put it there. It wasn't for your eyes. It was only for Adam. We need to make a movie every so often because he's just such a nice guy.
It was a litmus test.
He was the lit mag. But we were like, oh, this movie's terrible, but at least it's almost over. And we looked, and I think we were like an hour in, and there was like 45 minutes left. No, I think we were like an hour and a half in, and there were like 45 minutes left. It's like, this is over an hour? This is over like 2 hours. Like,
that was me with the Lost of Pastor. Like, I put that on as a joke when I was at Kyle's house, and it was like we were 30 minutes in. It's like, it's not even funny anymore.
Well,
like, the on purpose, like, shitty movie, like, it's just, it has no soul to it. It has, like, constantly winking at the camera, nudge, haha.
Well, that's why I won't watch Birdemic 2, because, like, I'd seen clips from it, and he just leans into it, and I'm like,
Yeah, I feel
like when you're trying to be funny, oddly enough, you're as bad at it as you are when you're trying to be serious.
Yeah. I don't know. Did Samurai Cop 2 come out? Because I feel like that'll be, like, the same thing.
I think it did, and if I recall, I think it was the same thing. I think Tommy Wiseau was in it.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I love that video of the Samurai Cop. Like, he's like, yeah, hey, it's the Samurai Cop. Still alive. God, what a stupid fucking movie. The movie just constantly cutting between, like, his real hair and his wig. Real hair, this terrible wig that's always under a baseball cap. Reminds me of when I one year, for whatever reason, in my best of and worst of, like, end of the year list, in one of them I wore a wig that happens to look exactly how my hair looks when it's grown out, and the other one I had my head, but I just had my regular hair, which was fairly short at the time, so I'm like, oh, I don't know why I did this. To this day, I don't know. I can't even say it was some weird joke or just something to screw with the audience. I don't know why I did it, but I guess the thought process was, they'll think I got a haircut between videos, and it looks like maybe I shot these further days apart than I did and not one right after the other. And then I watched the footage, I'm like, I'm just wearing a wig. And it's very clear, and I'm dressed in a coat that your, like, kindergarten teacher would wear. Like, it's this weird detective-looking coat. It's, like, it's worn. That's why I have it.
What fucking kindergarten teachers did you have?
My kindergarten teacher was Dick Tracy. And kept just like, I'm married to Madonna. And I'm like, I didn't see that movie. But I have seen clips of Madonna's character in that movie, and I know that for some of the movie, there's like a mysterious figure who you don't know who it is, and then you look and it's Madonna, but for whatever fucking reason, the guy looks like The Question. Like, it's just a faceless mask. It might have like a nose, but like, I'm like, you accidentally made the first live action incarnation of The fucking Question.
Hell yeah.
But sometimes I think about the alternate universe where Alan Moore got to use the DC characters he wanted in Watchmen, and The Question just becomes a racist fucking asshole. Although I don't know if all that stuff was as intense when he had that idea.
Yeah,
I feel like when they're like, yeah, we actually want to use these guys later, so make up people, and he's like, you do realize I'm just gonna make up people who are like pretty much carbon copies of these characters, right? It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It won't be popular. We'll stop printing it, and then you can have the rights back. Oh, shit. That's like the most popular thing we've ever made. Never stop printing it, so we never have to give the rights back.
Yeah, thanks for giving us that idea, Mr. Moore.
I like that. I think he said it. I believe he said, like, at this point, I don't care. Like, it sucks that it happened, but at this point, I just want to be alone. Like, leave me alone.
Please.
I think he had the choice to get him back if he came back and, like, wrote another story for them, and he was like, no.
Yeah.
Off, I'm going back to my cave and I'm going to magic.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it again the big snake breeding pit. I'm gonna fuck snakes. I'm gonna write Swamp Thing.
You're on the walrus pit.
What's the walrus pit?
Do not trust the corporations. They steal your ideas like marrow from your bones. One of my favorite Simpsons cameos because I don't think they gave him a script. Hey, Alan Moore, what do you come do? Don't trust corporations. Oh shit! Just start recording. But so Creep, you know, Alan Moore wrote Creep, the Creep comic for Creepness. But yeah, so I think what would be a fun idea in Creep 3, editing this is going to be a fucking nightmare because I already know there's just several points where I'm going to go back and be like, I was going to finish that thought. But Creep 3, I think he should just, like, a little kid, just imagine this, little kid comes down, it's like, ooh, it's Christmas Day! Hooray! Maybe Santa will have cured my polio! And then he tumbles down the stairs because Santa didn't cure his polio. And then he just crawls over to the... It's fine to make fun of polio. We got rid of it.
Yeah, we got rid of it. Not like
us personally. You're welcome. Like, that's actually why we have beef with Ralph the Movie Maker, because he likes to claim that he invented
polio.
He invented polio and we cured it. So really, we shouldn't have any beef because we're claiming different things.
No, we're keeping him out of business
because he runs the polio.
He runs big polio.
That's a callback to one of our episodes. They all blur together, and if we just keep doing this long enough, eventually we'll accrue enough fans that will also bother him. And Medina, go bother Ralph the Movie Maker. Gabe, if you're here, leave. But I hope one day we accrue like fans who want to go back and just listen to our entire catalog and realize that we fucking suck at mastering audio. Or I shouldn't rope you in with this. I suck at mastering audio and doing chroma key and doing most things. And then they're also just gonna be like, who's Gabe? Who's Medina? Who's Kyle? Who are any of these people? I know who Kyle is. They called him in one episode, but.
And it turns out we're both at a fucking committed to an asylum long ago.
We haven't recorded a single episode. This is our haunting of Hill House. We're cursed to do this forever.
It's a collective insanity.
But yeah, so kid comes downstairs. He's like, "Oh, yay! Oh, hooray!" And he opens the present, and it's just the Creep DVDs. Like, and then just like father just comes down and sits like pats his like sons, and he just lowers himself, and you see it's the Creep, and he's just like, "Son, we have something to tell you." And then the purple-haired lady comes, and you realize that they're this kid's parents, and they just give him a camera, and they just like, now run, and then it's just about them trying to kill their son, and their son has to outwit them and out-creep the creeps. Because the first one you had like the one guy, and then the second one you have like the guy, and like the girl she's not a serial killer or anything, but she kind of like can like keep up with him. Yeah. So the third one you need a third person who's like that, and then if you make any more, just every movie you add a new person. So like Creep 4, there's 4 creeps. Creep 5 creeps. I guess. But here's the thing: making Creep. We gotta call it Creep 3 Creepmas, but one of the E's has to be a 3. You gotta do that thing where there was one point where you remember Sumerian, that fucking thing that we shot at Birchwood. At one point, I'm like, I'm gonna expand this before I even finished the first one, which I never did because we got kicked off eventually, so it just became all green screen and shit. But the goal was like, after this I'll do like an anthology movie that's like several short stories that'll have kind of a theme. The third one will be that, but like they're sort of the short stories are all sort of tied together in a way, and that one would be the E in Sumerian's a 3, and then for Sumerian 4, the A in Sumerian would be a 4, and that one would be like a return to like a straightforward story. And maybe I'll do this one day with something that isn't that can't be drawn back to that, but now that it's out there in the ether, I haven't edited this yet, but I'm not cutting this shit out. You know, I'm fucking hard. Match all this stuff up later.
Yeah, there'll be 3 sequels to Sumerian, and then it'll be the 4 will be an A, the 2 will be a 2, and the 3 will be an E, and it'll be A24 Productions, which all ties around back to what we were talking about. Was Creep even made by A24? It doesn't matter. We talked about enough A24 stuff.
I think it. No, because I don't think they've, at least to my knowledge, I don't think they've done anything that's straight to Netflix.
Right. You said the second one might have been?
What? No, I mean, I don't think A24 has done anything that's done straight to Netflix. I think they've always done like either theatrical or maybe they. I don't know.
Right.
Because I imagine they would have. It's just I don't know.
I think it was a Blumhouse thing.
It was Blumhouse. At least the second one was. I don't remember about the first one.
I think the first one was. I think Jason Blum did the first one.
Well, no, we saw the Blumhouse logo was also in front of Creep.
Second one, yeah.
Because I remember I was looking, I'm like, what's this spinning chair? What is it? Like the Blumhouse logo, like almost sets it up like it's gonna have a jump scare, and then it just stops.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's all the same shit. Blumhouse, A24, Wiseau Films, Greg Sestero is behind this curtain. Yeah, so in Creep 3 you got the little creep, and he has to learn the creeping ways. Or alternatively, it has nothing to do with any of that. The only returning character is the creep, and just like a kid comes downstairs, he's like, "Ooh, Santa's here!" And then like he turns around and it's just the creep in a Santa costume.
I dig.
And what do you know? It only took us an hour to get to what we were actually going to talk about. High five.
Hey.
But yeah. So, do you have any festive things that you'd like to see in this Creep 3 Creepmas?
Well, I think initially what brought this on that we were joking about the Creep meets the Grinch.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I totally forgot about all this. This is a gold mine.
We have the Creep Grinch's Christmas, and then the little boy comes down to ask his mom.
I'm going to find the story that inspired all this while you explain, because we need to read this out loud.
We do. So I was... I distinctly remember that one time we said the Creep meets the Grinch, and that they're both in Whoville, and I think like, was it last episode we were talking about like IRL Grinch and like the live action movie where he scared the fucking shit out of me as a babby, like in the PS1 game specifically. I don't remember if that was an episode or if we just had that conversation in person. It's hard to tell anymore. It's true.
We're always making content. Always be content.
Brr, brr. But yeah, no. When I was a babby, little babby as Steve is Jr., I rented it from like, I don't know how I rented it from fucking Ames. Remember that shit?
I didn't. I remember.
People want to fuck the Grinch. It's
Spice. I didn't know you could rent things from Ames. I remember Ames.
Yeah.
It was just like green Kmart from what I remember.
Yeah, either I rented it or something went wrong, or I rented it from like a different
something
store.
went wrong and you were cursed and it showed up anyway.
Oh yeah, are we reading this Grinch sex fantasy from that lady?
Yes. Do you want to read the whole thing and then I'll read the TLDR?
Fuck yeah, I want to read the whole goddamn thing. So this entire thing started from like an r/relationship post that I just came across. I think it was probably on Twitter or something.
It was on Facebook because I think I shared this.
Even better. So this lady posts.
Well, we can't post AIDS, but someone can just put this up.
Yeah. So all I tried to do the innocent little thing of posting slight analytics because it has like 69 people like our page. And it's like nice. Anyway, a small update. Tried to post this thing, but the thing kept crashing because of AIDS. So blah blah blah, etc., right? And then Facebook's like, oh no, you can't have that because of spam. It's like, oh, so my other AIDS post can be up, and other people posting about weird nudity and shit can be up, but no, I can't have my AIDS posting up. Let me do AIDS postings up. Goddamn. A lady who vehemently claims that having a Grinch fetish is a completely normal and healthy thing has taken to the Reddits, and because all the people that use Reddit are of a completely healthy and stable relationship state.
Oh, yeah, they're sane. Not at all.
Absolutely. Not everyone just rallying against the dude because merely on the fact of his gender and rallying around the chicks on her side saying, oh, you gotta leave him, Queen Uwooski. I have a Grinch fetish. My boyfriend knows about this and for the most part accepts it. He isn't crazy about it, doesn't really get it, but at least he tries, which is all I ask. He sometimes reads the book to me to set the mood, or if he's really feeling kinky, tell me, you're a mean one, in the heat of the moment. He's even begrudgingly come around to at least playing one of the 3 versions of the film every time we do the deed, parentheses, although we tend to stay away from the live action one because it's too much for me.
Oh, Mom, I got the vapors.
Mommy, give me Grinchies. The thing is, I want to hear about the Grinch, or listen to the Grinch, or even watch the Grinch. I want to be fucked by the Grinch. And for the record, this is common among women. The Grinch's bulging sack of toys to me, and many others, is like a Mack truck to Cardi B. The fact that he's good with dogs and experiences trauma at a young age makes me want that long, fuzzy dick even more. My boyfriend asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I told him straight up, I want him to put on the greenest, silkiest Grinch costume he could find, kidnap me from my bed on Christmas Eve, and ravage me in front of the Christmas tree. He flat out refused, saying it was too weird for him. I was literally begging this man to let this pussy save Christmas, and he's like, I'm good. It ended up turning into a fight where he admitted he only gave in to my initial Grinch kinks to placate me and was uncomfortable about the fact that I had moaned Grinch.
Grinch.
Oh, Grinch.
Not Grinchy, which admittedly wouldn't have been better, but...
I'm on Grinch during
Not oh Grinch, not the Grinch, just Grinch. Sounds more like a tick than anything.
Per every thrust is like, Grinch, Grinch, Grinch.
Oh, it's about to Grinch, it's about to Grinch.
He's uncomfortable with the fact that I moaned Grinch during sex a few weeks ago, but only because the song was playing in the background. Oh, that's all.
Does she just do that anytime she's like, you're a mean one. She's like, Grinch.
Mr. Grinch!
Your pets will look at Grinch.
So I'm not losing my mind.
Put Grinch in the trunk of your car and forget it.
So he's drawn a line, and if I don't drop the Grinch fetish, which, as I said, is incredibly common among women, but sadly taboo, he's done.
They don't want to talk about it out in the open. We're learning the insider secrets of the fairer sex.
Yes, this is all the girls' locker room talk.
Just getting changed. Just like, you want to fuck the Grinch? I want to fuck the Grinch.
You want to fuck the Grinch too, right? Yeah, fuck yeah, girl! Just high five. I don't want to lose him over this, but it's really hard for me to see past my sexual proclivities, especially during the Christmas season. Is there any way we could even compromise on this? Or do I need a more adventurous man?
And says, TLDR, all I want for Christmas is my boyfriend to dress up as the Grinch and fuck me and he won't.
What a fucking bastard. How could he? So that whole thing,
So that led to something I don't think we talked about. In the first Creep movie, there's a scene. It's you shouldn't even say scene because they like turn the camera off and you can like only hear the audio. Which, by the way, if the point is to just get him to film all this, did he know he would do that? Did he want that to be in that part? It doesn't matter. But he starts telling the guy who's filming him a story about how he's married, and earlier in the movie he found a wolf mask that the guy wears and he calls himself Pitchmas, and he gives him like a story. It's like, oh, it's like to not scare, it's like to cheer up children, even though it's the scariest fucking mask I've ever seen.
I'm the mask, I'm the mask.
I'm the Pitchmas, I'm the Pitchmas. And basically, he, like, later in the movie, he's like, hey, turn off the camera, and, like, he just leaves it, the guy leaves, like, the sound running, and you hear, like, him explain this story about how that mask, he lied, and that mask is actually something he bought when he found out that the story also, I get that it didn't happen, but it makes no sense because he's like, I found out our computer was getting real slow. So I call up the guys like, well, check the history in the web browser. I'm like, what the fuck? That just automatically deletes after a while. But it's like, so go, and it's like, and I found such things, such horrible things, like people laying with animals, and he didn't really say anything about it. So I said I had to go on a business trip, but I didn't have to go on a business trip. I just bought that mask. I broke back into my house and tied up my wife, and I raped my own wife, dressed as a wolf. And this is a very strange part of the movie, and that luckily, I like that the movie is because at parts, you can understand why the guy's he's anxious, he doesn't want to be rude to this person, even though he's clearly fucking weird. But I do like that immediately after that, once the camera cuts back on, the guy's like, okay, he's getting a drink and everything, he's like, let me get the fuck out of here. But yeah, so that led to when we saw this, I think I just commented, I think that's why the creep Grinch is the cat in the hat or something. Or the creep Grinch is the Grinch. Just for those of you who don't know, there is an old, I don't think it was ever a book, but there is an old Dr. Seuss animated short or TV episode or something called The Grinch is the Cat in the Hat. I used to always see it at Blockbuster. I think I even rented it once, but I just always is Grinch a verb? Can you Grinch somebody? And how does one go about Grinching somebody? But now I guess we know. This woman wants to get Grinched pretty extremely.
It takes a lot to Grinch off.
I'm getting out of Grinch testing. But, so yeah, that's how we, basically came to, I think we just said that initially, and from Creep Grinch is the Cat in the Hat, we came up with Creepmas. But even though we're close to an hour and a half already, I do just want to talk briefly about what I think would be a good Creep movie. And that is, I think the next movie should be him, trying to goad her into, killing him. And it's that type of thing where it's he's just so persistent that he does eventually break her down, and it's sort of more that them going head to head, but he has finally she's finally in if I don't kill this guy, he's gonna keep coming after me and keep showing back up.
Yeah.
And so it might be interesting if she sort of starts filming her own thing, and he's maybe you could even have parallel. Maybe it was just on half the screen, she's doing one thing and he's doing
split screen.
Yeah.
Or they're just two overlaid Twitch streams, how Creep Man will raid her stream, so everyone's watching the same shit at the same time.
Yeah. It just ends with the creep swatting her because he's out of ideas. And then he accidentally gives the address he's staying at, and then he gets swatted.
Well, I wanted to mention this earlier about how he had killed 40 other people apparently, and
but it looked way more at the end of Creep 1 when he opens that drawer. It looks way more than 40.
Yeah, that's what I was saying though. It's probably because it was they want to leave it up to interpretation or implication or whatever, but they only ever showed the stuff from the previous movie.
Yeah, I do like that it really is a great example of a truly unreliable narrator, because we at the end of the day we really don't know jack shit about him. Even the stuff that he says fairly sincerely, it's I don't know how far ahead this guy's thought this shit out. For all I know he knew all that shit was gonna happen. Oh, she's gonna sort of not be into it and then sort of be into it, and then I'm gonna stab myself, she's gonna run away, and then she's gonna run back at me, and then I'm gonna get hit in the head with a shovel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow her to New York.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because, like, he says, I think in the second movie, like, even his own defenses and barriers be broken down, and he, like, genuinely fucking didn't even want to kill her, but just, like, he actually fell in love with this chick, and you don't know how much of it is true. Like, you can probably just, like, read between the lines and say that this guy probably never fucked him in his life, at least not on a live person.
Yes.
And it's like, I didn't even know he killed all the ladies. I thought he was a fucking gay guy in the beginning. Like, when he was like, oh, this relate... I don't know if it's because of, like, he's such a weird antisocial guy, or because I think he does, like, a weird... Not bisexual, like, not that it's weird, but, like, he has, like, bisexual tendencies, or, like, some kind of homosexual tendencies, like, in the beginning with that guy, where it's like, oh, you're such a good friend. He's always, like, trying to hold his hand and, like, being, like, a very intimate with another dude kind of way. Because, like, the other guy kind of seems, like, kind of twinky. You know what I mean? Like, he seems like he's very...
That do remind me of my old college roommate, Neil. Like, and I have no doubt in my mind that Neil would get murdered by a crazy person just because he was too polite.
And he just, like, fucking Call of Duty melees his throat. He's like, this doesn't even bring me joy anymore.
He just drinks the beer with his arm, like, resting on the guy's head. Like, that intro is great. Just the whole thing where you could, like, you just stop. He's like, you know, I thought it'd be, like, this great thing. We'd have, like, this great film to document our friendship. But, you know, ever since I turned 40, it just starts pulling out the knives. Like, I'm not, like, excited about this anymore. I'm just, like, that sudden, like... What's interesting about it is it has these clearly, like, humorous, intentional humor moments.
Yeah.
But, like, then lightning quick, it'll just, like, that scene is, like, it's funny. Then that happens, it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. And, like, but then he's just, like, immediately, like, it's a very good mix. And I've always said, and you even said it earlier in this episode, horror and comedy are two of the hardest things to pull off successfully.
Yeah.
And when you do them both well, like, that's pretty interesting.
I think because they're so parallel to each other that, like, when you have that subversion of expectation come out, like, you just have him, like, just so quickly without like, it's like instinct. Like, the guy, like, the character's working on instinct, just slashing the guy's throat within, like, a fucking split second, and he's just dead. And he just acts so nonchalantly about it. And like you said, he's just fucking nonchalantly just like, oh, just drinking a beer and all that shit.
Well, it's like, I like that there is sort of that shakiness to it when he first, like, you could tell, like, like, he had to react quickly. And you could tell he sort of has this, like almost anxious energy to him and stuff like that. And like just in that moment, he's like, if he gets up, this probably won't end well, so I'll just kill him now.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's just a great way to open that too.
Yeah.
And why do you not? Maybe Creep 3 will finally be an hour and a half. Maybe they'll finally get there.
Just adding 10 extra minutes per film.
They just take Creep 2 and then take 10 minutes out of Creep and just add it into Creep 2, and they're like, there we go, we did it. But overall, like, normally I get annoyed when movies don't make it to the hour and a half mark. I don't get annoyed so much when like I'm watching them at home for free. I usually get annoyed if I have paid full price for a movie to see them.
Yeah.
Like, my brother used to have a thing where if a movie was under an hour and a half, he wouldn't pay to see it in the theater, unless it was, like, specifically a short film thing like that. And I can understand that, because I think he took it too far, because I think he said, like, he didn't see Zombieland, and I looked at it, I'm like, Zombieland is, like, 6 minutes under that. Granted, that's taking credits and stuff like that, so you're getting even less than... But close enough. Like, you're gonna notice those 6 minutes. Zombieland 1's pretty tight. Yeah. Like, I'd rather that those 6 minutes be gone. Yeah. And that's the same with Creep. It's like, the first one is fairly brief, but it's like you said, has that awkward tension that sort of, like, elongates certain things. But, like, the pacing, they're just so brief and everything just, like, falls into place really well. And that's the thing, it's like sometimes I'm annoyed when it's like, you didn't even make the hour and a half mark, but, like, I don't think there's anything you can really add there. Yeah. Like, and I think they're, like, perfect, like, the two we got are perfectly paced so far, because I wouldn't really cut anything out, and I wouldn't really add anything. Right. Fuck. That's what happens when you creep too much. But
I know I creep too much.
But yeah, so I'm feeling you on that. So let's wrap this shit up. So yeah, that was our Christmas pitch. And what do you know? All 3 cameras are actually still recording. So let's fucking let's see if we can get this all done before. Do you have anything to recommend?
I saw Midsummer. That was pretty good.
Yes, you finally watched Midsummer. Now you can borrow the director's cut, and then you could watch it, because I still haven't, and you could tell me what the fuck the difference is between them. I did watch it, I just don't know. I think I know the few scenes I know one scene they definitely added, but other than that, I don't know. But, because there was some stuff in the trailer that I'm like, I want to see that, and then I watched, and apparently that's not in any version of the movie, because there's like a scene in the trailer where, the boyfriend, the terrible McTerrible guy.
Yeah, I fucking hate that guy.
That guy shows up midway through, like, not say midway through, but like in the first act or so of Transformers 4. And,
of course he does.
He uses his natural accent. No, wait, no, he doesn't. I think he's American in that too. I think he's Irish in real life. Because like I think that's what in the movie you're like, I don't think you sound like that in the real world. But he shows up. First off, we've had an annoying TJ Miller character for the first part of this movie. And the entire time we're watching it, we're like, this guy fucking sucks. I hope he dies. And then he does.
Nice.
He dies brutally. He gets like turned into metal and then like melts or something. It comes right the fuck out of nowhere. And we're like, gee.
Standing ovation.
Well, I'm like, I didn't think the movie was going to listen to me. But, and then he gets replaced by that guy who is 10 times worse. Because he shows up, hits somebody with his car, like literally hits a government agent, like with the wheel of his car, and you just see the guy's like neck snap. I'm like, this is for kids, isn't it? And then like he's the one who has a card in his wallet that explains why he can have sex with Mark Wahlberg's underage daughter. It's like, it's the Romeo and Juliet law, and it's the strangest scene in the movie. And if you look into it, I think legally he would still be in the wrong. And like some people theorize that there was just a producer who had like a kid who was dating an underage girl, and it was like, Michael, put this in the movie. Or maybe it was just Michael Bay. Nah, see, I can legally date your daughter. Yeah, this says if you're like a few years apart, you're like 50, and she's 2. But
officer, I didn't know she was only 2.
But I remember once when I had to stay in after school detention with that computer lady who didn't know anything about computers. Which one? But I had to stay after to make up my work one day, and she was watching the news, and there was some story about a guy who had like
impregnated Jamie Lynn Spears.
Well, he had I don't like saying these words because it's just, he raped a baby, at someone who's months old, and her reaction was just, oh. Like, it wasn't like, oh, that's like terrible or that's disgusting. It was almost like she was disappointed. I'm like, do you know who that is? What was that reaction?
That's it?
Oh, that's all he did? I would have still married him. He looks like a fine fellow. But I was just like, I was doing my work, and because that's not something you can just not hear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And then I hear her reaction. I'm like, wait, what? I'm so lost. Can I go home? But yes. So, Midsummer's pretty good. And that guy is insufferable in Transformers, but that's not his fault, because he's fine there. He's playing an asshole who you want to punch in the face. But I do like that they play on that, some of the things in that movie. It's like the horror and the comedy can almost be picked from the same places.
Yeah.
Like when he's walking into a room of naked women, it's like, have sex with this woman. It's like, that's funny, but it's also part of it. It's like, this is weird, and I wouldn't want to be in this situation.
Yeah, but
especially when you're on a shitload of psychedelics.
Well, he's on so much psychedelics, and he doesn't want to fuck his girlfriend anymore, and
she wants to put him in a bear.
Yeah, and then the one old lady's literally pushing on his ass in order to
come on, just come already. And then she's just like, I can feel the baby inside, and he's like, I'm gonna run away now, and they're all like, wait, that's fine, we don't need you anymore, go get in the bear.
Yeah.
But just that thought of waking up and you can't move.
Yeah. That's what led me to a recall from the earlier in the movie too. He kept the one fucking Swedish guy kept trying to comfort Danny, who was simping hard for her. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh, let me fuck you, Danny. Your boyfriend doesn't appreciate Danny." He's
the one everyone's like, "Oh, he's the good guy in the relationship." It's like, he brought all these people here to die. Granted, they all sucked.
Yeah, no, they were awful, but except for
he didn't even know she was gonna live.
Yeah,
his brother or whoever that other guy was had to burn himself alive at the end because your people weren't good enough.
Yeah. And but yeah, no, he's simping hard for this chick, and then it's oh yeah, my parents died in this horrible fire. It's oh yeah, his parents were probably part of that same fucking weird tradition too.
That's what I like. What I like about Midsummer is it kind of does that Hot Fuzz thing where that tapestry that they show at the beginning of the movie, if you look at it, it tells the entire story.
Yeah.
Like, it has the hoses, like, around the sister and the parents and stuff like that. And that whole fucking, like, that opening is, like, Hereditary condensed.
Yeah.
Like, how Hereditary, you're, like, going along, and like, okay, where are we going with this? And then it has that moment where you're like, Jesus Christ. That happens, like...
within, like, 5 minutes.
Well, like, when he gets that second call from her, when he's, like, out with his friends, he gets that second call, it's like, as soon as he got that call, I'm like, nah, I don't like where this is going. And then, like, you just hear her, like, no.
Yeah, that primal, guttural scream.
And that fucking, like, that pan through the window and just the drum, like, boom.
Yep.
I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Midsummer's pretty good. Watch that. I finished Bly Manor. That's... it's depressing as shit. It's very good. I think I might be in the minority who actually liked it more than Hill House, because there was less things that pulled me out of it. Like, Hill House is good, but then the kids are on screen, you're like, please leave. And then like Henry Thomas is on screen, it's like, please take out those colored contacts. You look like you're possessed. Wait, you're the kid from E.T.? What the fuck? He does a British accent in Bly Manor, and it's fine. But
it's pretty okay.
I get him confused with Peter Billingsley, the kid who played the kid in Christmas Story, and I'm like, no, he's in Iron Man for some reason, because he like produced it, and then he showed back up in Spider-Man Far From Home. And now I'm convinced that if they keep doing Mysterio, he'll probably just be Mysterio. Like, they'll establish that Quentin Beck is dead, but like... they have all these files. They could probably just keep doing that forever and keep, hey, Jake Gyllenhaal, you want to show up on set for exactly a day? He's like, I will show up on set for exactly a day. And then Andy Spence's brother will accidentally pet my dog again. This has happened twice, according to my brother. But anyway, so yeah, I recommend Bly Manor. We watched Creep 2. I'd recommend that. Would you also recommend Creep?
Absolutely.
Creep 2? Yeah, and those are pretty good. I'm going to let Steve borrow Enemy. Check that out. That's a movie 50% of people who watch it will hate afterwards. And we had the last episode finally posted up. You can go watch that. Or I'm working on my Fright Night video. It's coming along nicely. Steve's in it. And we'll get that out soon. And still hopefully try to do something Christmas related.
Midsummer's kind of Christmas related. It starts off snowing in that movie.
Well, like... we may do an Elfette video or something like that for, it would be kind of fun to do Elf Bowling, just to see how the hell it ends up on Slavery is Good song, or whatever the hell they start singing. But, yes, so thank you very much for listening to another episode of Pitch Shift, and our second episode of Pitchmas. And if we stick to our schedule and don't be lazy pieces of shit as we are one to be, I believe our next Pitchmas episode should be hitting on Christmas Eve. So you'll have something to not listen to because you'll be busy hanging out with your family, or you won't be because you don't get to see them anymore because they will die.
Or you're getting shit-faced.
Yes. Or you're just using this as like, sorry, Mom, Dad, I can't come see you. Traveling restrictions and COVID.
Glug on glug.
And then you drink yourself to death like Edgar Allan Poe probably did. You know, famous Christmas figure Edgar Allan Poe. Oh, we need to, maybe we'll do as a mini pitch next time. Edgar Allan Poe is Santa. But thanks so much for listening, guys. I hope you're having a happy holiday season, but that is unlikely.
Yeah, everything's fucking terrible. You know what isn't terrible? Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All the platforms that we're on.
Oh, yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That camera finally died. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TuneIn, Spotify, Google, probably.
iTunes, whatever it's called.
Apple, whatever it's called. We're actually the most listened podcast of Steve. Hey. We got those Spotify things. It's like your most listened podcast is the one you are on. But yes, so you can check us out on all those things. If you would like to send us money, do it in untraceable Bitcoin through encrypted phones that we pick up in a subway station.
Yeah, we have to travel out of state to pick up.
We have to travel out of state to pick up our stolen Bitcoin. But yes, thank you so much for listening to our stuff, guys. Thank you an extra special amount to the frequent listeners, such as Medina and Gabe probably like fused into one person and it became Gabe Medina. Gabe Medina, if you're out there, you're probably the worst person to exist. I imagine it wouldn't be the good parts of either of those people. That's like if we fuse, we'd be the worst parts of both of us. And that's already pretty bad.
Hard R. Gabriel.
Well, let's, but yes, so thanks so much for listening. I've said that too many times now, so we're gonna get out of here. You don't have to go home, but you do have to
go home.
You do have to go home. See you later, guys.